breaking barriers, building generational wealth among people of color. I know you'll be really glad that you did. We have a wonderful speaker with a wonderful training for you. A few housekeeping reminders. There is no CE for this training, but you will receive the recording the beginning of next week. Also, the presentation deck is not shared, it is proprietary. Tech problems? We hope not, but if you do have any, go over to our website, financialsocialwork.com, click on chat, and Eric will help you with any tech problems. Stay tuned after the presentation. We have a wonderful discount to share with you, and you'll want to know about it. I'm Rita Wolfson, president and founder of Financial Social Work. Linda Benjamin, our relationship manager, is with us, and Eric, who's our webmaster and technical support. And we are here for you today, along with Capria Lipscomb Franklin. She is a licensed master social worker, certainly a certified financial social worker, and so many other wonderful things that she is going to tell you about and share with you very shortly. I like to start my trainings with our financial social work affirmation. It goes, just for today, I will love myself enough to face my fears, practice self-acceptance, and embrace hope. Silence my inner critic, speak my truth, and make peace with myself and with my past. Just for today, I will give myself permission to eliminate toxic people, beliefs, and behaviors from my life while preparing for a better tomorrow by healing my relationship with my money and with myself today. We like to begin with some interaction with our audience. So, this is our topic, and you can put your responses in the question box, and Linda will share those with us. What are you feeling? What are you seeing with your clients? Unfortunately, all of these are present in most of our lives, and they are
Oh my gosh.
problematic. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you hadn't even stopped talking when the questions came flooding in. They
Great.
are recession, healthcare again, unemployment, recession again, all of the above, recession, unemployment, student loans, saving for retirement, paying for my roof, high debt to income ratio, all of the above, all of the above. I think we're in a recession. Student loans.
Anything that
Rent
anything
costs. There's, you
what?
know what? Rent, student loans,
Mm,
bankruptcy recovery, child care, high housing costs. For my clients, it's housing, the cost of housing and food, SNAP, student loans, healthcare, utilities, rent and car loan, food, rent, utility bills, medical bills, child care.
oh, childcare.
I'm feeling the weight of the world.
It is. I truly wish we could just have a whole discussion on this and do a training on how to help clients. In the past, we have done many holiday trainings with tips and handouts. Those are on our YouTube channel from previous years. But obviously, this year, and we know it's not a good year so far. for anyone. So here we are, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about the journey to financial social work before turning it over to Capria. So our timeline, in the early 1900s, the foundations of social work and economic justice is when it began. We know Jane Addams and other settlement house leaders were addressing poverty, labor exploitation, living conditions. So those are our roots. Now, between the 1960s and the 1980s, a lot of things were happening in the country and in social work advocacy. We did get the Social Security Act, and that was so critical. And social workers were involved in responses to the Great Depression, halting financial hardship, and social support became more explicit. 1960s, we had Economic Opportunity Act, which launched the war on poverty. We had between the 70s and 80s consumer credit, welfare reform debates, lots going on, not surprisingly, because the economy and all types of money very, very fluid, and economic disparities were growing, and our profession was beginning to address housing insecurity, unemployment, but not really personal finance proactively, particularly. We were not doing anything. So in 1997, the Treasury relaunched national financial literacy initiatives, and the term financial capability really came into use, and is still in use, but it doesn't and didn't address the emotional, behavioral, and systemic aspects of money. So the early 2000s was the birth of financial social work as a distinct model. So I created it back then, and its structured model integrates financial education, behavioral change, emotional awareness, and is trauma informed care. In COVID-19, between 2008 and actually still remnants around, a lot of people were really suffering from unemployment, eviction. We did a training like this and had multiple thousands of people register. They didn't know how to help clients. They didn't know what to do. And many of us didn't know what to do. We'd not experienced this in the past. So looking ahead, we will be gaining professional recognition and integration of financial social work, expanding into health, mental health, and public policy, because we are equity centered and trauma informed. And we have great technological innovation and access for everyone. And this textbook, published by Cognella about 3 months ago. And if you're interested in it, you can find it on Amazon, or you can see that it's on our website when you put a / and then textbook. We also have a recording on YouTube when we launched the textbook a few months ago. So what is financial social work? It is at the intersection of politics, the economy, gender, racial, social, economic, and other able justice. You can see that it's integrated into most areas of our lives. And that's because money impacts us physically, mentally, emotionally, not just financially, but socially and psychologically. It is a major part of our lives. It is financial social work is a holistic approach that is trauma informed and does so much to help clients and families, individuals, communities, organizations to be able to take control of their money in order to gain control of their lives. Populations that need financial social work. If you can think of any I've missed here, and certainly this is not inclusive totally, go ahead and put them in the Q&A box. They can share them with me. But when you stop and think about the clients we work with, they don't come in necessarily or often presenting with financial issues, problems, but they're presenting problems most often will have a financial component. And we need to be looking for the symptoms, the causes, what's going on, because if we're not paying attention and clients don't know how to talk about or share financial problems, that is not holistic social work. We really have to be able to address these financial components of clients' issues. We know that no one chooses to have money problems, but sadly, most people do. We have been researching and discussing and analyzing these social issues, poverty, economic inequality. And those are the foundation of this profession. But we haven't been teaching or providing the tools and the skills to create confident, competent agents of financial change. Financial social work's behavioral approach combats the financial struggles that compound every social issue our profession seeks to address with our holistic method that goes beyond crisis intervention to foster sustainable, long-term, lasting change. We have to address these issues. A staggering number of men and women really are unable to meet their financial needs and the expectations of society. They have more money, more debt than assets, and more financial problems than solutions. They need someone knowledgeable and trustworthy to help them to cope with their financial struggles. They need a financial social worker. They truly do. That's all I'm going to share with you right now because it gives me great pleasure to turn this training over to Capria so that she can provide you with her beautiful training. Ready, Capria?
Yes, I am. I didn't. Oh, I think it's this. Oops. Can you see my screen?
No.
Can you see my screen now?
No.
Okay. I don't know
I
what I'm
can
doing.
now. Just put it in presentation mode.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I am
Yeah,
so
just put
glad.
it in presentation mode, honey.
Is it?
No. Upper right-hand corner. Presentation. Present. It says in the upper right-hand corner, it says present. No.
Okay. Can Eric possibly do it for me? We had this issue last time. I don't know why it's not doing it.
Can you help us?
Yep, 1 moment. Let's see, let me change it to me.
So it's showing up now?
1 second, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Well, certainly no one likes to have technical difficulties, but I would guess that everyone in the audience has experienced some technical problem.
Well, in the meantime, I could talk a little bit about myself in the presentation. So
Sure.
today we're going to be talking about breaking barriers, building generational wealth among people of color. And this talk isn't just a financial talk. It's about healing, it's about reclaiming, and it's about rewriting the story of wealth for everyone, for our families, our communities, and including ourselves. So my name is Capria Lipscomb Franklin. I am a licensed master social worker, and I've been a certified financial social worker since 2017, but I've been doing this work since about 2015, so about 10 years now. And Eric, are we good to go?
Yep, you should see my screen now. So just tell me when to advance.
All right, we can advance to the next slide.
I don't see your screen, Eric.
Is it coming through now?
Not for me.
I see it.
Okay, you guys do it then, because I don't see it. Okay, I see.
All right. So let me begin with the story. A woman is sitting at her kitchen table early in the morning, sipping her coffee, reflecting back on her family. She's clipping coupons, she's humming softly, careful not to wake up the grandkids. On that table is an old Folgers coffee can, and that is her bank. And she checks her bank every morning. The money is there, but her chest still tightens. The next slide, please.
Next slide.
Yep, next slide. So her grandmother also hid cash because the bank denied her mortgage. Her mother worked multiple jobs, yet faced garnished wages. Every dollar carried a warning, do not lose this. When she passes, her family finds almost 10 grand in that can, hidden, unspoken, never invested, and never protected. She trusted cash more than the banks because in the past, the banks have hurt her. The banks set her up just to fail. And on the surface, it looks like she's disciplined. She knows where every dollar goes for. But underneath is fear. financial trauma wrapped in love. Next slide, please. And that person just wasn't anyone. It was my great grandmother, and it's someone else's grandmother, maybe one of your family members. Her habits came from survival. That was decades from being redlined, wage gap, the history of slavery. And her money story isn't failure. She was inherited that story. She was inherited hypervigilance, and she was inherited safety. Many of us are living versions of that same story, still deciding what safety means when it comes to our money. The next slide. We're on slide 5 too, by the way. We can advance to the next slide.
Yeah.
And the slide after that, one slide 5, I'm sorry. Yes, so the bridge to the purpose, that is exactly why we're here, to honor the generations before us who did exactly what they knew to survive, and to learn how to thrive from their setup, to transform fear into strategy, and our silence into our legacy, scarcity into abundance. So in order for us to do that, we have to understand financial trauma, where it comes from, and the effects of it. We need to shift our money mindset in order to build and protect generational wealth. History doesn't repeat itself. It compounds, especially if we refuse to acknowledge it. So we can name some of these roots of slavery, or some of the roots: slavery, Jim Crow, housing discrimination, educational inequities, predatory lending. These are not just accidents. They are systems designed to limit wealth and opportunity for communities, and especially communities of color. So when we look at the systemic extraction, we could begin with our enslaved labor. Once enslaved people were free, even though some of them took a couple of years to get the message, there was still no reparations. There was promises and guarantees, and nothing happened. Next, let's take a look at the Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was an amazing street and community, really. It was more than just one street, but it was a bunch of Black-owned businesses and retail shops, restaurants, and it was extremely thriving. However, that was disrupted in the Tulsa Race Massacre in 1921. So even when people of color came together, depended on their community, people tore it down, literally burnt it down. Next, we'll go on to the 1900s to 1977. We're talking about redlining, being denied homes, having limited access and wealth, and let's not mention the limited access to adequate health care. Moving on to the 1970s, even now, we have the war on drugs, mass criminalization, and loss of income. And even now, we still are experiencing those modern gaps with our wage, credit, and home ownership. Each era took something different. There was land taken, credit was denied, wages were suppressed, inheritance was blocked. These losses echo in our financial behaviors today. There is fear, mistrust, shame, guilt, and we are still, and some of us are still in survival mode when it comes to our finances. So the next slide, please. We can advance to the next slide.
Okay.
So what kind of effect does it have? When trauma goes unspoken, it ripples, just like in a pond. Silence, scarcity. We inherit not just struggles, but coping mechanisms. That is why healing has to happen alongside the financial planning. Economic trauma becomes emotional inheritance. Shame, scarcity, and silence are all symptoms of this. Now, I would like for you guys to just take a moment of some introspection. What money message did your family live by? Did you see early signs of scarcity or early signs of opportunity? Were you limited on things that you can do, things that you can buy, and even places that you can access? Or did you always see opportunity for growth? Not only is it sometimes the way that we actually look at our situations, but a lot of these opportunities are things that are beyond people's control. Pause for a moment and just think about the one message you heard about money growing up that you still reflect on today. Is that message rooted in fear, control, or possibility? Today, I'll challenge you to make that fear into possibility, and that is your starting point for healing. Next slide, please. We can go to the next slide, please.
Eric, he may be helping someone.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I think there's a delay uh, with what you are seeing. Unfortunately, I think there's just a delay with GoToWebinar today. So I've been advancing. It just looks like there might be some sort of delay. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. Well, I can be patient. That's totally fine. So, so I keep saying financial trauma. So exactly, let's define what financial trauma is. Financial trauma is the emotional and the psychological distress that results from financial instability, discrimination, and or scarcity. It shows up in many ways, such as anxiety, avoidance, overspending, or never feeling safe enough to just rest. And how can that feel? It feels like shame when bills are piling up. It feels like shame when there's more month than money. It feels like guilt when you spend on yourself and not on the kids, or not on your parents, or not on the bills. Like exhaustion from always being the strong one. I know that might resonate with some of you guys, especially Black women. Be strong, a strong Black woman. Well, that gets tiring. Financial trauma hides because the mask of I got it all handled, but really is hurting on the inside. Stress is that connection between your mind and body. And if we are always continually thinking about how to pay bills, there is no way that we can just rest in the abundance that we have. It may also look like constantly checking accounts, if there's money in there or not. Guilt spending on self, feeling unsafe, and feeling like there's always going, or there's never enough. You're always going to run out. And of course, the shame about the debt. We can advance to the next slide. And I'll just talk until I see the slide showing up, since we know there's a lag. So in order for you to begin to reclaim financial dignity, you have to heal. And that's how you restore that dignity. When we remember that our worth is not tied to our wallet, and wealth isn't just about money, it's mental, emotional, and communal well-being, then we can begin to restore. I love the saying that your self-worth is not your net worth. They are not friends. We're not besties. We're not even related. Those are two different things. So just knowing that who you are is your dignity, not your money story. That is just a part of your lifelong journey. We want to acknowledge the harm that has been done to certain communities, and also honor the survival of those communities and those ancestors who built that. And then we are going to choose new patterns for our behaviors concerning our finances. Next slide, please. So let's just go back to the grandmother. Imagine if instead of hiding money, she had support, someone to validate her fears and guide her towards trust and legacy. As a financial therapist and a financial social worker, I would help her by acknowledging the survival in her story, She did a lot, and working multiple jobs and seeing that money visually every day and still holding on to it because she was determined to pass her kids something. That is something to be honored. Also, I will build safety through small intentional steps and help her reframe her fear as wisdom. Create a plan that honors her past and secures her family future. And healing means transforming silence into strategy. It is very important when we're working with our clients and they are telling us these stories that's surrounded by guilt and shame that we validate and normalize their feelings. Especially with the introduction from COVID, even me being a financial social worker, we really took a hard hit in COVID. It literally, you woke up and you had a job, and then maybe an hour or two later, you didn't. The whole world was shut down, and we are still recovering. And if someone who knows finances had a hard setback, just imagine the guilt and the shame and the complex and array of emotions our clients are feeling. So we have to validate and normalize their story, help them make those small, safe actions, and help them change their mindset. Next slide, please. Actually, it might be the next two slides. I think I'm on slide 14.
Gotcha. I'm on there now. Sorry.
Great. It's okay. Many of us were taught not to talk about money. Don't ask how much people make. That is so rude. Or keep your business to yourself. Or the thing that I heard a lot, stay in a child's place. And remember, I was told this and I was 17 years old. I just wanted to know how much the water bill was. But silence keeps shame alive. So conversation creates freedom. We didn't talk about money, but we felt it. I may not been able to ask because I knew if I asked my parents for $100, they were going to say no. And then I felt guilty for wanting $100. It was all a downward spiral. And the silence, the culture of silence, secrets about debt or inheritance, secret about how much you make or how much your bills would be, avoid paying or saving, and not even having a conversation, and feeling unqualified to make decisions. All of this leads to that culture of silence. Like parenting, we protect our kids from grown folks' business, or couples avoiding hard topics about debt. Those conversations aren't going to break us. They're going to make us resilient, keep us together, and help us grow. Breaking that silence is the first act of generational wealth. Next slide, please. The healing has to come through conversation. And I understand that in some communities, we don't have that conversation, but it's time to talk. It's time to turn that story around because our conversations is our strength. When we talk about money with compassion, we invite healing. We model transparency and we shift the narrative from judgment to curiosity. That's how financial empowerment happens. So you want to ask little questions like, how did you learn about money? What's the earliest memory you have of money? What are some happy moments about money and also some sad? Because you want to share those wins and mistakes because remember, history will compound if we don't discuss it. We also want to normalize fears, especially when it comes to our money growth. Investments, banks, mortgages can be so intimidating and scary. And it is for a lot of people. So let's help them normalize those fears so therefore they can make those money choices to advance their family. Next slide, please. We also have to talk about scarcity thinking. Scarcity thinking says there's never enough. It's rooted in survival, but it keeps us small. Scarcity whispers that rest is lazy, giving is risky, and wealth isn't for people like us. However, it is. When we recognize scarcity thinking, we are basically taking those fears and turning them to make the best outcome for us. One of the things is I shouldn't spend money on myself. That's guilt. But you should because you deserve it. I'm not saying break the bank and spend the whole paycheck, but if you want to go out and get some Starbucks, go ahead because I'm telling you, everyone getting Starbucks for $5 is not the reason why we're in poverty. Sometimes over control is I must save everything, not necessarily to pass it down, but because of that fear. What if I don't have enough? That is so real when it comes to scarcity, that it causes us and our clients to either not spend at all or have that mindset as well as, I can't take it with me when I die, I might as well spend it now. These are ways to kind of get that avoidance so that you don't have to worry about your money problems. Next slide, please. However, we want to reframe that to abundance. Abundance thinking says, I am enough and there's enough. We are all not getting from the same pot of money. There's an infinite amount of money out there that we can achieve. It's about awareness, not just affirmations. It's budgeting with confidence, saving with a purpose, and investing with hope. Because you can protect what you have. And while you're protecting your money, you can also use your money intentionally. Your decisions with your money are acts of love for your family. And wealth equals knowledge and freedom and legacy. These three things combined is what's going to give us that generational wealth. A lot of times we isolate the three. I want to learn more, so I go to school, and I want to feel free, so I do these things, and I want to pass down the legacy, so I'm going to save. But we have to start thinking about wealth as in all three of these things, because again, history will compound if we don't know our story. Next slide, please. So here are some mindset tools for change. You can start to journal your beliefs. You can make gratitude. I like expressing gratitude for the smallest things. Like right now, when I did my presentation, I was thankful that my computer was working. Even though webinar seems to be lagging, it's okay. You guys are going to get the message. I was thankful for my chair. I'm thankful for my house. Just expressing gratitude in the simplest ways is the best and quickest way to help us change our mindset. Some gratitude journaling will also record your financial wins. It will help you visualize abundance and then track your money without judgment. You could create boundaries with compassion. And again, small mindset shifts create big rippling effects. All we need to do is be 1% better. 1% better will compound to over 300% better in a year. If we try to be 50% better or even try to double our efforts in a month, not only is it unachievable and unattainable, but you're really setting yourself up for failure. And that's a form of self-sacrifice or self-sabotage. But that's a different conversation, right? We want to make sure that we are giving these mindset tools for change for our clients and for ourselves as well. And when we have those wins, those successes, make sure you're looking back on it, because that's going to give our clients momentum to continue to go and create those big ripple effects. Next slide, please. You are not your ancestors' trauma. You are their wildest, their best, and their biggest investment. So we are reclaiming that agency. And agency is the power to choose differently, to say, this stops with me and I can turn it. Agency transforms inherited patterns into intentional actions. Next slide, please. So how do we do that? How do we start from small steps? Figure out where you are. Look at your budget and see where you can cut expenses and maybe gain some income. Also, feel free to talk to a therapist, a financial therapist, or anyone who's going to help you get through those money stigmas. Some other things you could do or help our clients do is automate savings. Start small. It could be as small as $20. And over time, again, that 1% better, it will compound, and over time, you will be able to grow your savings. Have those honest conversations as well about money at home. If you want to save and you don't have a partner that really lines up with it, start small, begin to interact. Look for ways, or contact someone like me look for ways to see how can we have those conversations and initiate change. Small steps compound into freedom. All right, the next slide, please. You also want to consider some asset building opportunities, which we'll get into in a second. There's home ownership, entrepreneurships, there's those side hustles and businesses, going to school, getting into those retirements and investment strategies as well. All of these things are going to help us build assets, and we'll talk about it some more in a few slides. Next slide, please. You want to make sure your actions are aligning with your values that you have set as well. So when you're talking to your clients, and maybe you guys are going through your bank account, maybe the client doesn't know where their money came from, or maybe you just notice a lot of impulsive spending or TikTok spending like I am, and you could just kind of challenge your client. We're looking at your bank account, and I know these are your goals, these are your values. However, let's see if these values and the things that you're doing is actually aligning with the goals that you've set. And if it doesn't, then that means something has to shift, either that goal or that money. That way, you're putting the power and the responsibility into the client's hands without judgment. You're allowing your client to dig deeper and have some introspection about their accounts and about their lifestyle and about their values. Does my money reflect my values? And if not, what needs to shift? When your finances align with your purpose, wealth becomes more than just numbers. There's an actual meaning behind it. So I also challenge you guys to think, what does wealth even mean for you? And what story do you want to pass down with that wealth? Which behaviors honors that vision? And there are a few ways that you can kind of talk to your families about generational wealth. Sometimes people don't know what it is, so you might have to define it. But what legacy do you want to leave behind for your family? While home ownership is one of the best ways to begin building generational wealth, there are some other strategies to include, like investing, like increased financial literacy, maybe getting a different type of mindset when it comes to savings and spending. We could talk about life insurances, different types of retirement planning like 401k and IRAs, and estate planning. I like talking about estate planning. We're going to talk about that in a slide or two. So, in the next slide, we can advance to the one that says protect what you build. These are different ways that we can also help our clients protect their legacies. We can help them with the wills and trusts, powers of attorneys, beneficiaries, insurance, and estate planning. So I know those are some big terms for our clients and maybe even for us. So I will break it down just a little bit for each one. So what is a will? A will is simply a written document that directs how your assets, your money, your property, everything should be distributed after you die. And that's the biggest reason why our clients don't want to talk about it, because death is still taboo. It's a weird topic. Who wants to think about when they die, right? But if we are going to build this legacy, we have got to protect it so that our legacy can be passed on. While some people use a lawyer to create a will, it's not necessary. You can do it yourself using websites. Having a lawyer is the best way, but if you can't afford it, you can definitely build your own will. So why even build a will? Because if you don't, government agencies and the courts will decide who gets your possessions, and they will probably make the decisions that you wouldn't. You don't want to leave that into the trust of someone who doesn't know you. And if there's a disagreement among your loved ones about that decision, it could be costly and cause undue stress and conflict. So then we could talk about trust. A trust, again, is a written document that helps manage and distributes your assets either while you're alive or after you pass. They rely on trustees, and they will make those financial decisions in the best interest of the beneficiary. They often have responsibilities, meaning they are fiduciary responsibilities, meaning that they act in the best interest of the trust of the beneficiaries to manage those assets. And the beneficiary is the person who is going to be receiving the asset after you pass away. So the difference between a will and a trust, a will still has to go through courts, and the probate courts can deny the will, even if it's notarized, even if it's written with a lawyer. However, a trust does not. And trust can also protect you from things like taxes and other liabilities. There is a difference, but either one will help you protect your legacy. A power of attorney is a legal document giving one person the power to act on the behalf of another individual. And it's usually when you are incapable of making those decisions yourself. There are several types of attorneys, but this is important when it comes to protecting our legacy, because if the client has something that they want to pass down or have wishes, you want to make sure that you are giving a trusted individual or a lawyer that decision-making power. A lot of POAs, especially financials, will give you a lot of power even when you're alive. So make sure that you are protecting your legacy by appointing a trustworthy power of attorney. And then estate planning, simply put, is all of the things that we talked about. Estate planning is outlining what should happen in the event of your death. It should also include provisions for who will make those decisions for you about your health and your finances when you're not able to do so. Whether that's through a power of attorney, whether that's through a lawyer, a trust, or a will, it is important that our clients learn what estate planning is and how to use it for their benefit. We can move on to the next slide. So how can we help our confidence for ourselves and confidence for our clients? Through education, of course, right? Because confidence grows through knowledge. Ask questions, seek support, and give yourself permission to learn without shame. Information is liberation. And if you don't know what to do or what to tell your client because you feel like it's out of the scope, don't feel afraid to refer. You also want to partner with those community resources and pro bono. I know there's pro bono lawyers out there, financial planners that may be able to help your client as well. Next slide, please. So healing means strategy when mindset and action works together. You shift how you think and how you plan, and that's how the cycle breaks. So this week, start one financial conversation or review and start your estate plan. Review or identify one money belief to challenge and seek professional guidance if you need it, not only for our clients, but for ourselves as well. Next slide, please. So this is a reflection prompt. Now, as I mentioned before, I am almost done with financial therapy because I'm becoming a financial therapist. So everything that we do, well, what I do when I talk about these type of things, that's kind of emotional. Sometimes an array of emotions and feelings can come. So hopefully we're all sitting down. We're just going to sit up straight, put our shoulders back, loud and proud. Well, you don't have to be loud, but proud. Take a deep breath and just imagine, what will financial peace feel like in your body? Is it calm? Is it the loud and proud stance? What would it reflect if you could just walk into any space and money is no longer a fear or concern? That's going to help you write and carry your money story. So which money story will you carry forward and which one will you rewrite? Next slide, please. So don't lose your stance. Still sit up strong and proud. And we are going to say a closing affirmation together. It's going to be on the screen, so feel free to say it out loud while I say it, because affirmations help you not only acknowledge the trauma, but heal your story. Shift your mindset, take aligned action, protect your legacy. That is the roadmap to generational wealth. So you can say it with me. And I know I use the word ancestors, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's only for people of color. We all have ancestors, and we are all going to thank them for the things that they have done to set us up for today. And we are going to carry the torch so that our generations can have that wealth. So I am my ancestors' answered prayer and my descendants' foundation. I release fear, honor their wisdom, and move forward with courage and clarity. Wealth flows through me. And I repeat, wealth flows through me. Healed, intentional, and free. Next slide, please. Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation. I believe this conversation is so important and necessary. So may you continue to build, may you continue to heal, may you continue to grow and reclaim your economic power, one intentional decision at a time. If you would like, you can scan for the QR code. This leads you to my website and everything about all things positive and my nonprofit arm, Black Wealth Energy. Black Wealth Energy is exactly what I'm doing now, helping people who can't help themselves necessarily accrue financial generational wealth. So thank you so much. And I believe, Rita, you will take it from here.
I will, Gabrielle.
If
I
you'd like,
have
I
to
can
thank you. Go
I can
ahead.
pull up the presentation deck. Rita, would you like me to do that?
Yes, I have it. Whoops. Give me a second. I have to, oh boy. Oh,
There you go. I got it pulled up.
I know, but I
Okay.
can't find it here. Mhm. There it is. Well, let me show my screen. Capria, thank you so much. I'm sure everyone is sharing those very strong thanks and appreciation for what you just shared with us.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Well, let's see about Q&A. I just want to flip through a few things that people should know before we do Q&A. This is about financial social work certification, and these are the workbooks. This is Capria is a graduate. We have thousands of graduates across the country and around the world. It's what we care about, everything that she just shared with you. And we have video courses. And for the coming week, they will be 30% off. So that is a special discount. If you'd like to take advantage of it, you can see Couples and Money video course. We have Feminomics. We have a financial social work video program. And our most recent and popular is financial social work for community nonprofits. So take a look at those on our website. There is that 30% off discount. We have these other products for you that you can learn more about on our website. This is on our website. You can find it if you put that /ebook, a social work guide for circumventing political and economic uncertainty. You could probably enjoy reading it. We have more webinars coming up next month. December 11th is financial shame and trauma, micro and macro level interventions. Then we're doing something new at the beginning of the year with a two-part webinar series with a very popular presenter at the financial social work webinars. And now we are ready for Q&A. Capria, are you going to pick those questions or is Linda going to feed them to us?
I don't see any questions, so maybe Linda, do you see him? And also, while we do the Q&A, can the LinkedIn page show? Because I will invite everyone. Please add me on LinkedIn. I would love to know what other financial social workers are up to, what kind of work you are doing, and maybe even some collaboration in the future. So I would love for everyone to connect with me.
Well, there is one question, and I think also a thank you. So I will share it with you and everyone. And it says, thank you so much for putting this information together and for allowing it to be free of charge. I am grateful. Do you happen to have any resources to track debt management and getting out of debt? Again, thank you.
I do. Can I follow up with that person with an email?
I have her name. I can give it to you after the webinar. Sure.
Okay, great. And if that's you, please just add me on LinkedIn and we can definitely connect.
Great. I did spot another question. There were a lot of thank yous and a lot of people saying it was an awesome presentation that they didn't even know they needed. So here's another question for you. What are reasons that a will would be denied by the courts after the person passes?
Well, typically, if there is no one contesting it, it won't be. But loved ones contest wills all the time. They will also kind of like basically say, how do we know that that person was competent when they made the will? Or sometimes the will is outdated because it was found in like an old Bible from 20 years ago. Most of the time, if the courts are saying no, it's because what's in the will isn't accurate anymore, or more than likely, someone is contesting the will. And then they'll go into probate, and probate is not free. So the longer it stays in probate, the more whatever you're arguing about, whatever asset it is going to be depleted. So, yeah.
Okay. And this is not a question, but somebody has told us that freewill.com, FREEWILL, freewill.com is an amazing resource to get a will made for free.
Well, thank you. I hope everyone got that freewill.com. If you guys personally don't have a will, an estate plan, advance directive, or anything, do it for yourself first, because we all need that. It's very important. Even if you feel like you don't have anything to pass down or oral histories, I got a blanket from my great grandmother. I don't want that going in the trash. So make sure you guys have a will at least.
I'd like to add that wills aren't, or estate planning isn't only for those who have money. Everyone should have a will. If you have children,
Yes.
I wish there was a different name for it, because you're right, most people don't feel they have an estate. But those documents and the information needs to be present after death, or else, especially if you have children, to make sure that those children are taken care of or provided for. So it really, most of our clients need that, even though we may not be thinking of it. Anything else, Lynn?
Well, we do have a question. I'm not sure that we have enough time to get into a lengthy answer, but someone's asking how, I would love to know how financial social work has improved or shaped your social work career. I've been looking at this program for years.
Me personally?
Yeah, you should answer that.
Yes, so I can make it short and sweet. I started off at Wells Fargo with a temp agency when I was in grad school. They specifically asked for MSW, so I worked in Elder Client Initiative, and we used to investigate scams and diminished capacity cases. Often I would see $1 million accounts every single day, and I was making $12 an hour, and I was trying to figure out how I can have one of those $1 million accounts. But not only that, these accounts were locked and blocked because of the same reasons. People didn't have wills. People didn't have power of attorney. Some people didn't have transfer of deaths. And here people are with millions of dollars, still having $1 million or still having financial issues. That was the very beginning, about 2015. And then when I got hired on as a financial social worker, this training was required, and then it just took off from then. And not only now do I see the $1 million accounts, I know I can be a $1 million account as well. We don't have to live in scarcity. We don't have to be poor. Whatever we want is out there. And Rita's program, the Center of Financial Social Work, helped me tremendously when it came to connecting with my clients and when it came to me dealing with my own scarcity mindset. So thank you for that question. I love talking about my villain origin story. It gives me hope. And hopefully it gives you hope too.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
And there's also,
oh yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
no, I was just going to say there's also someone here who worked for Wells Fargo as a temp. And she worked with home loans. So there you go.
Okay, I guess this is a good place to end. Capria, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you for taking the time to join us today. I hope you got as much out of it as I did. I would imagine so. We have more coming up every month, so be sure to join us. Thanks, everyone. Stay well and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye now.